Hey everyone, Mitchell Gould here, and in today's video we're going to be going over what is click-through rate or CTR in the digital marketing context. So let's jump right into it. I have a few items I want to go over so you have a real clear understanding of what click-through rate is. So I'll go through those pretty quickly and then you should leave here with a good understanding. So to break down the definition of click-through rate, it's the number of clicks divided by the number of impressions. So out of how many people viewed or saw your ad, how many of them clicked the ad is the percentage you get, and that's your click-through rate. So this could be used for on the ad side of things for like Google, LinkedIn, Meta, email, YouTube thumbnails, the organic search results. You can measure your click-through rate, which can help you understand the overall effectiveness of your content in your ads. I like to think about it as a leading indicator metric because it does influence metrics further down the funnel. Like on Google Ads, the better your click-through rate, the more relevant your ad is to your target audience. That's going to help lower your cost per clicks, which in turn is going to lower your cost per conversion and help you have a better overall return on investment in your marketing efforts. So the things that impact click-through rate in terms of advertising, so on LinkedIn, on Google Search, Google Display, are going to be how relevant your ad is to the audience targeting. So if you're targeting on Google Search and you're targeting a keyword and in your ad copy, your headlines don't really match the term that you're targeting and aren't relevant, that's going to impact your click-through rate. You're going to have a lower click-through rate just because it's not matching or similar to what someone's searching and isn't relevant to that user. Also, the overall design of your ad, the creative design. So if you're doing display advertising on paid social, on LinkedIn, how your ad looks can impact your click-through rate. The call to actions that you're using, the offer on your creatives, that's going to impact click-through rate. Like I mentioned, the ad copy, headlines, and descriptions. On the Google side, if you're using ad extensions, that can impact click-through rate as well. So there's multiple things that can impact the click-through rate, and those are all things that you can test to improve your click-through rate. So first things first, you want to make sure you're targeting the correct audience, and then your offer and your creative speaks to that audience and is relevant to them. And then from there, you can test different components of your creatives, of your headlines and your descriptions. You can do an A/B test, so you can test one headline versus another headline and test that over time and see what impacts and improves the click-through rate and the other metrics that you typically want to look like your cost per clicks, your conversion rate when you're doing A/B test. So my biggest recommendation is measuring performance over time for click-through rates and A/B testing over time. So if you're always iterating and improving your headlines and your ad copy and your creatives, you're going to incrementally improve your click-through rates over time and overall have a better impact on your marketing efforts. So I'll scroll down here and just show you it's really important to have some type of client reporting so you can see your click-through rates over time. This is an example of looking at the click-through rates week by week. So you can see here we had a click-through rate of about 4% in November, early November, and then the cost per clicks were around $10. We adjusted some things in the targeting that were needed. We saw our click-through rate come down and our cost was a little bit lower, and then we improved some things after a week or two after that, and we saw the click-through rates come up. This is just more of an example of the reporting so you can see what click-through rates look like over time and make sure you have that visual and you understand and you annotate, if something decreased, you look into it and understand why it decreased. Maybe that's something to do with the targeting. If you're on Google Search, maybe you're seeing irrelevant search terms coming through. That can impact your click-through rate. So there's a lot of elements to look at, but just make sure that you have visibility on it. And just to go over a simplified scenario of how click-through rate can impact the metrics further down the funnel. This is a very simple, basic example here where these yellow cells are inputs and the transparent cells are the calculations from the inputs. So in this example, if you improved your click-through rate, in this top scenario, it's 0.5%, and if you improved it by 10%, that would be a click-through rate of 0.55%. Let's say when you improved your click-through rate, your CPCs were a little more affordable and they improved, so your CPCs went down from $5 to $4.80. That alone, that result in that increase in click-through rate and that decrease in CPCs would reduce your overall cost per lead by 4%. So it went from $250 to $240. You got 2 more leads and received more clicks because your click-through rate went up. It's very basic numbers here, but just to show you that if you improve your click-through rate, that can improve, your cost per lead, which can improve your customer acquisition cost. And for A/B tests, I just wanted to show one example. So in this scenario, it would be testing the color of the call to action and the copy from green to orange. And you can, if you're running this on like LinkedIn, you could test, by changing the color of the CTA and the text, does that impact the click-through rate, and does that impact, CPCs, the overall cost per conversion and conversion rate. I like to test one element, so maybe you could test, instead of changing the colors, you can test the headline, or you can test a different call to action or a different picture. What's relevant to your audience, what gets them to engage more, and what helps improve your click-through rate, and how that also impacts your other metrics. And lastly, I just want to go over some benchmarks. So what I do like to do, like I mentioned, is have reporting in place so you can measure your own metrics over time and understand the things that you're doing and how that's impacting the performance of your campaigns. But it's also helpful in some industries and with some clients to get some benchmarks. So you can go to websites like the Search Engine Journal and also WordStream. They have some click-through rate metrics on the Google search side for different industries. So you can take a look at those. Here in the business services, it shows a 5.11% click-through rate, and you can look at the data set that they're using for that. And on WordStream, they have some CTR examples by industry for search and for Google Display Network. You can always Google benchmarks for your particular industry and see what comes up there. And there's some websites that you can also use to pay for some benchmarks. So if you're interested in that, those are a few different sites that you can look at. But it's also just really important to be monitoring your performance of your campaigns over time, like I mentioned. That's everything around click-through rate. I hope that gives you an overall better understanding of it. If you have any questions on that or anything digital marketing related, please put them in the comment section. I'd be happy to help you out in the comments. So thanks for watching and have a great day.